Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Rasbora for Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. And in today's video, lots of nano fish. Let's get into it. As I have in previous weeks, I am going to begin this video by asking all of you if you could vote for us in the Practical Fish Keepers Readers Poll. The votes are open now, and it would really just mean the world to us. I'll talk a little bit more on that later on, but if you are interested in voting for Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London in the Practical Fish Keepers Readers Poll for 2025, then do just check the link in the description. It would mean the world to us. But without further ado, on with the rest of the video. So full disclosure, I nearly didn't make a video this week. It has been an incredibly long week at Pond Life Aquatics. We've had a lot of really hectic and busy work on, but there are some beautiful nano fish that I do want to run down for you guys today. So I apologize if this is a shorter video, but we will be back with more content and educational stuff for you guys in the coming weeks. But there were just a few species that I absolutely adore, and I thought it would be fun to have a oops all nano species list this week, which we'll go through about 2 or 3 that we got in, and then I'll probably do a species spotlight on one of these in a future video. But for those of you who are new here, we are Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. My name is Rasbora, and we do things a little bit differently here. We do everything continent by continent, and that's because we like to help educate people about where their fish are from in the wild. And occasionally we get school groups in where we help teach them about different fish from different parts of the world and where they're from and their environments. And we help to try and teach people how to keep their fish in the absolute best possible ways. So here at Pond Life Aquatics, we primarily focus on 4 different continents, occasionally dabbling into a 5th, which we will go into a little bit later. But in our South American species range, we have everything that you would expect from live bearers, swordtails, guppies, neon tetras, all kinds of tetras and cistrus, Corydoras catfish, and all of those beautiful things. In Asia, you will find a stunning selection of well-kept better splendids. You'll find things like barbs, rasbora, hill streamloach, all of those gorgeous things alongside some absolutely beautiful goldfish. If that's your kind of thing, we have a nice selection of goldfish in at any given time. We did get a few really nice ones in today, however, I'm not going to be talking on those. Additionally, we are expanding our Asia range, which I have been doing a mini-series on, and I will be updating that either next week or the week after. So if you're interested in how that's coming along, do stay tuned for that. We then have our Australian range, which has all of our dwarf rainbow fish, our regular rainbow fish. So we have our pseudomogals, which are luminata, gertrudis. We have our fraccatus, our forktails. We have bosmanis, our neon blue rainbow fish. And then in Africa, we have our Lake Malawi species, which are murderous bastards, alongside our Tanganyikan species, our shell dwellers, with our Congo tetras, longfin Africans, and our frogs. But today we are going to start off on the floor. And the only reason for that is because this isn't a South American, Australian, African, or any of the usual continent species we keep. This is a North American species that I spoke on a few weeks ago. These are Elassoma evergladei, or the Pygmy Sunfish. And although I talked about these guys a lot when we first got them in, because I do absolutely adore them, we had so many people reach out wanting them because apparently they're just not that well stocked in the UK, which makes sense because I hadn't heard of these guys before we got them in. So this tank here, which is so heavily planted with hornwort, is where we're keeping our Pygmy Sunfish. And realistically, that's how you want to keep these guys. Soma evergladei exhibit these absolutely stunning poppy blue and black colors when they're males, and they're ever so slightly duller when they're females, but they still exhibit these fascinating behaviors. I've fallen so head over heels in love with these guys in the past few months, to the point where I'm literally figuring out how to build a racking system in my new flat so that I can breed them. They have a relatively short lifespan of 2 to 3 years, which means that when you're trying to keep these guys, the best possible way to do so is to try and almost create your own little dynasty. Part of the fun of keeping pygmy sunfish is that you want to breed them in a small colony. And to do that, you need to think about where they're from. Oh, these guys are from North America. Pygmy evergladei lends itself to the name of the Florida Everglades, which should give you a really good idea about their natural habitats. They are of least concern when it comes to conservation, and very rarely are they captured from the wild and put into captivity. We know these guys are captive bred, and they have just been doing so well. When we first got them in, I knew absolutely nothing about them, and as I learned more and more, you learn that they're a true micro predator. They won't take any dry foods, they have to take frozen or live, and that's what we do here. We give them a mixture of frozen copepod, frozen cyclops, live foods, baby brine shrimp, and they have just become so much more interesting since we first got them in. We've had a few batches now just to top up, and it's been really nice to see them slowly do more and more of those really intricate breeding behaviors. What I love so much about pygmy sunfish is they don't require all that much space. Some people online say that they need about 20 litres plus. However, if I was going to be setting up a tank, which I am planning to do in future, I'll be looking to do about a 60 litre plus with a good group of them, making sure that I have a good mixture of males and females to try and create that colony that everyone desperately wants to make when they're trying to breed these guys. I know I said I wasn't going to spiel too much about them, but I do just think they are the best thing since sliced bread. And you can tell just giving them as much plant and hiding space as possible is the best way to keep them. These guys are just so much more interesting when they're almost hidden, which seems counterproductive for a lot of fish species. But as you'll see with a lot of the other species that I'm going to talk about today, it's exactly how you should go about it. Next up, and getting off the floor, but only just in the tank above these guys, is another nano fish that I really do just want to show off for you guys. We got a restock this week, but we always try and have a healthy number of them in, and that is the pygmy Corydoras, or Corydoras pygmaeus. And these guys can be found in the river basins in Peru, Brazil, and they're very typical of a South American species of Corydoras. They love having a soft substrate with lots of planting and hiding spaces. And I actually took some of these guys home very recently because I just keep falling in love with them. And although I'm not necessarily trying to breed these guys or anything, I do have a few gravid ones at home, and they are going to turn into a breeding project. I just know they are. I thought it would articulate to you guys, and honestly, they're just so much fun to look at when they are in big groups, how much better pygmy corys do when they're kept in groups of 10 or more. So I've got a 55 litre that I have with my placat beta and a few cherry neocaridina or cherry shrimp, and they just do so wonderfully. They are a weird species when it comes to Corydoras because they're not necessarily just a bottom dwelling species. They are regularly found swimming in that mid-ground area. What I've heard a lot of people say about pygmies is that they're actually quite delicate and difficult to keep. And I think it's a misconception because they try and keep them in small groups without sufficient feed, or they overfeed them and they end up losing them along the way. Where, as you can see from me keeping these guys at home, and this is a month on, this isn't a couple of days, I'm not just rigging this up, I've not lost a single one. Straight out of the bag, unquarantined from a wholesaler that we absolutely trust. So that's always a really good thing. He quarantines his fish. And they are just the best thing in the world to wake up to in the morning. They are playful and fun. When you give them a good staple of frozen and pellet food, you can see they just fatten up and become this beautiful little species to keep. So the reason I wanted to talk on them today is because I absolutely want to encourage as many people with nano tanks to keep Pygmy Corydoras, but do consider giving them enough friends. They are a truly social species, truly shoaling, as I will show you in all the clips that I've taken of them in the past month. And if you've got a 60 litre, if 20 sounds like a lot, it's absolutely doable. As long as you keep on top of your water parameters, they are an extraordinarily adaptable little species, going anywhere from 6.5 pH to 8 pH. They can tolerate a wide range of general hardness, as long as you give them a good amount of palm, some good hiding spaces, good food. They are going to be just so rewarding. Next up in the nano species that I wanted to highlight today, and these aren't new in, I did again speak about them a few weeks ago, but these are the dwarf golden barbs that we have moved up. And like I said, they were extraordinarily skittish when we first got them in, but these guys have really settled down and starting to really fatten up. And they are just absolutely one of those species that if you have a small tank and you love the look of things like tiger barbs or green tigers, well, not necessarily a green tiger, but you get what I'm saying, having a tank full of dwarf golden barbs is going to be the alternative. I'm not going to talk on these guys all that much more because I do want to do a species spotlight specifically on them alongside the next fish that I'm going to be talking about. But as you can see, with a good amount of dedication, with a good variety of food, well-filtrated water, well-maintained aquariums, fish that are typically timid, as long as they're kept in good enough groups with some decent hiding spaces, they really do just come to life. Now, next up is in the tank just down here, and I'm not going to go on too long about these guys because they are extraordinarily skittish. I can't get that much good footage of them, but I do just want to highlight the fact that we've got them in because I have tried and tried to get them in for what feels like years now. Every time I see them on the list, I put them down and then they never turn up. And today they finally turned up. This is the dwarf emerald Rasbora, or Danio erythromicron. I can't pronounce the Latin name, but I gave it my best shot. I fell in love with these guys years ago when I saw them in another fish store and thought they were one of the most beautiful little fish that I've ever seen. They are a diminutive Rasbora Danio species, very similar to celestial pearl Danios or galaxy Rasbora. There's a lot of misnomering that goes along between Rasbora and Danios. These guys are absolutely beautiful with these stunning bands across their bodies and bright red faces. And what's so great about this species is they are this beautiful little shoaler. They need to be kept in groups of at least 6. Personally, I wouldn't keep them in groups less than 10. So I'd be looking at about a 50 litre for them. If I was going to be keeping groups of 20, I'd probably be doing a species only tank, something like 65 litre. And they originate in Thailand, in Myanmar, Lake Innol, I think it's pronounced. And when you look at where they're from in the world, they are just from this completely densely planted lake, effectively. which locals have to regularly go in to clear, but you're going to find loads of things like najas and hornwort and Balasonaria all just growing in these dense vegetative underwater forests, and that's where these guys are found. I'm keeping my voice down because they are slightly skittish, but when they are kept in these larger groups, they really will start to show off their colours. So I am going to leave it there for today because I hope that I'll be able to show that off to you guys. But for now, we finally have some dwarf emerald Rasbora in stock, and I just couldn't help myself from telling you guys about it. And those are the species that I want to talk on this week. Of course, we got other things in. We always have our beautiful hard water Discus, which we are just so proud of here at Pond Life Aquatics in Tropical Fish London. We also always have in other dwarf species, things like Galaxy Rasbora, which are absolutely worth their entire own video. We always have those bread and butter species, but today I did just want to keep it short with those nano little beautiful fish. I hope you guys can forgive me for taking it a bit easy this week. It has just been a really long week, and I wasn't really up to making a video, so I just wanted to talk about the species that I was absolutely most excited about, and I hope you guys are okay with that. And next week, I promise I will do an absolutely full breakdown of every single species that we get in. This is probably a terrible segue to ask about this, but if you would like to vote for us in the Practical Fish Keepers Readers Poll, I've been leaving a link in the description right at the top of the description every single week, and it would just mean the absolute world to us. If you could leave us a comment letting us know you have, it would really help boost up these videos and would help us carry on to do these things. I promise I am making more content. I will be doing more and more content for you guys in the coming weeks, and there's exciting things coming from Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. This year has been absolutely manic for us, but it's all really exciting. Thank you so much to everyone who has come into the store. It's been mad recently. It's been absolutely mad. But for now, I think probably the shortest video I've ever done. But that's all from me here at Pond Life Aquatics in Tropical Fish London. And I hope you'll join me again next time for this Pond Life.